welcome back to another episode of the Top of Off Cricket Podcast. I am your host, Kevin Henry, and as usual, with me, I got Sam and Walter. I don't know, we talking everything West Indies cricket. So let's just get this show started with first and foremost, some friends that I grew up with. They lost their father earlier today. Condolences to the Pydanas, Clive, Steve, Bones, Collis, their dad, former West Indies and Guyana, wicket-keeping batsman Milton Pydana passed away. Once again, condolences to the family. That must be a tough one. You know, I've heard a lot of good stuff about Milton. I got a chance to play with his brother Glenn Narine, when I used to play with Police. Glenn was a no-nonsense batsman, but all the stories that I've heard about Milton Pydana, there's a lot of people that said the only reason he never played more cricket for the West Indies was because of Jeff Dujan and Derek Murray. And that speaks highly of who the man was as a wicketkeeper. They said he was one of naturally the best behind the stumps. I don't know if you guys have heard any other stories that y'all would like to share.
Yeah, I heard, condolences. I grew up and I knew Imogen because Imogen was best friends with one of my cousins. Still best friends, actually, I should say. And so in terms of Milton Pydana, I've heard this story. I heard he was one of I heard he was the second best gloveman Guyana ever produced.
Behind
The
who?
best one was, we said,
Behind
behind
who?
the guy from Albion. The guy from Albion that I think he died young. I'm forgetting his name, but he was one of the best Guyana's produced. I'm forgetting the guy's name from Albion, man. He had some issues and he died a few years ago. Very
Who?
young. He died young.
Azib Ali Hanif?
No, not as a Balearic. Far from, man. Far
Okay,
from. When
okay.
when I remember, I tell you him. You know who it is.
Okay.
When I say you'll know who it is, yes. But condolences to Mr. Pydana, and I like most. I wish he had played more for West Indies. He probably the same thing, but he came in the era when we had about 20, 30, probably 40 great cricketers, good to very great cricketers. So yes, respect.
Tough era to break into the West Indies team. Sam, you got anything?
Just to extend my condolences to the family, and thank you for sharing Milton Pydana with us. That's it from me.
Yeah. Anyways, so West Indies Under 15 tournament began yesterday. 3 matches, 6 territories: Guyana versus Trinidad, Windwards versus Leewards, Barbados versus Jamaica. We have to talk about the under 15s because this is where it really starts, right? This is where we get to know who we got, that the budding youngsters that we expect to see in West Indies colors in about 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 years time. But you've got to start following them from now. So one thing I noticed, because I'm not going to get into I don't want to get into the scores, and we're not here to talk scores, right? Because this is a developmental tournament. I don't care who ends up winning the tournament. What I care about is the quality of players that are on show. Walter, Sam, I think let's begin with Sam. What are your thoughts so far? 3 games in.
3 games in, we can see clearly where in the Caribbean, you could say decent cricket is happening. You look at the Guyana game, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, that is. Trinidad and Tobago batted for 48.5 overs. They made 168. Yes? Guyana came in. Guyana made that runs in 41 overs and 5 balls. Right? You look to Jamaica and Barbados. We see where Barbados was able to knock off 78 runs in 18 overs. right? So I mentioned those to highlight that, look, for me, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, seems at least it's very early yet, but still we can see already that those three seem to be where good things are happening. Jamaica, as you guys know, I live in Jamaica, and I don't get the sense that much is happening in Jamaica when it comes to cricket. You see?
Cricket
And this is
development
what this is showing.
specifically.
Cricket, yeah, cricket development. In fact, I watched a bit of, Jamaica bowling against Barbados. And I don't need to call the name of any particular player here. Yeah. I mean, these are young lads. They still have time to grow and to develop. But I saw one too many balls going wide, going down the leg side. You see? So what it says to me, our players are not getting enough practice. It comes down to that, enough opportunities to play. And of course, the proper guidance and coaching. That is what I saw coming out of it.
Walter?
For initial comment, that's where I would leave it.
Every time I remember under 15 cricket, I remember the great Carl Moore. I think Carl Moore
Mr. Moore was indeed a great one.
People would not know that without Carl Moore, there's no Romario Shepherd or Shamar Joseph. There's not a lot of people. A lot of us, yes, and Carl Moore got into this whole they started that club because of people like us, Kevin. People really don't know the story because we went crying to him as young men because how we were treated as young men and that's how that started. And he's a guy that saved a lot of people. But why I'm saying Carl Moore, when we started playing under 15, when he started in Burbies, what he did is that he played double innings cricket, right? So what it did is taught young men how to bat, how to manage an innings, how to set a score for another team, and all this happened within the day. And I was just thinking about what we would say. We could easily, all of us here, could easily fall into the trap of saying that the scores are too low and we're not batting the overs. But remember, Kevin, remember, Sammy, that when we were younger, we had double innings.
In one
right? In one day. And sometimes that game, both teams would finish both innings. So I was thinking, I fell into the trap and I'm thinking, so what is this? What you guys are saying is right. We need to do more at the under 15 level. We need to do more at the grassroots level. We need to do more at the under 13, under 11. We need more cricket. We need more cricket and we need more coaches throughout the region. I remember when we were under 12, going to St. Teresa's, and Kevin was on the 12 star. He was a little older than us. He was the year before. You and him were the year before me. And I remember that at that level, unless you had a good person a teacher that knew the cricket, a lot of times the teams weren't picked properly. You didn't have proper training. And see, even though we actually played school cricket at that level, which was underhand at the time and not overhand, but we actually played cricket. So what we're saying is that we need, as you guys said, I'm in Canada right now. And I forgot to tell you guys one of the teams I coach is school teams. And my female team we lost in a final last year. So we went to a presentation ceremony. And what is happening, there is more school cricket played in Canada than in the Caribbean right now.
I got a question, Walter, right?
Yep.
Is it a case of more cricket, or is it a case of better coaching is needed?
I think it's both. Both. More cricket and coaching. Proper coaching. You know, Kevin, we talk about this. We looked at a school in South Africa. You told me, I think, and we look at the school where there's cricket from the ground level. So there is cricket and coaching. It goes hand in hand. We need more coaches and we need more cricket. There's not enough cricket, as I say. I mean that organized cricket at the various levels. Organized cricket. A lot of times the tournaments are just, oh, we get to under 50. We must have staple tournaments that we look forward. Organized right through. And as I said before, they need to be a standardized thing right throughout the Caribbean, where we interact with the government, the Ministry of Education, and right through and have a proper plan. I am not going to be these young men. I hope the scores improve, but this is saying a lot for me.
Yeah.
The case here is not to beat them, because they are still very young men, right? And that's one of the reasons why I said the focus here. And I hope this is the conversation around the six territories, right? The focus here should not be on winning this tournament, right? The focus here should be, I am a better cricketer when I leave this tournament. You understand? When I started, I was at this point, and when we sit down and we go through all the metrics, I'm a better cricketer when I leave this West Indies on a 15 tournament. So when I go back to my club team, I am coming back and I am bringing value to my teammates. You understand? I'm not coming back as the same. Let's say I'm playing and I come back from the tournament and I go back to let's say it's Tugbo Park Cricket Club and I'm the same thing, right? My game should have improved purely by being in that environment, higher quality, better quality bowling, because that is what's going to happen, right? You better quality bowling, better quality fielding, better quality batsmen. You understand? So the environment is there for the players to succeed. For a lot of them, the level of competition has risen. So that's why you're probably seeing scores of this nature, because a lot of these players, probably the batsmen especially, back in their territories were probably reading off hundreds, right? They're stars at their age group level in their various communities, but they're here now, and things have kicked up a notch. The pace bowling is a little bit quicker, right? The wicket keeping is better. The spin bowling is a little bit better. So it's about the adjustment. So how do they adjust over the course of this tournament? That is what I'll be paying attention to, right? And then it would be nice, as you said, there's not enough cricket being played. It would be nice, let's say, in our case with the Guyanese players, when they go back home, they go back to a system that they are playing more cricket, especially because they're school children, essentially, in the schools. There's not enough cricket being played in the schools right now. There's not enough cricket being played in the schools. It needs to be on the calendar. It needs to be on the calendar. The various age group levels.
For me, like I agree with you. It's not to bash them or anything, but it sort of was like night and day. You look at that Trinidad and Guyana match, and you see, Trinidad almost batting out their 50 overs. You see. That says something. And then the other thing too, again, not to get into the weeds of it all, but even at this level, you want to see players, you want to see batters, putting up some runs. Because remember now, yes, they're still young, what have you, but you want to make it a habit. If we look at Brian Lara's history, Brian Lara was making hundreds at under 15 and so on. I would imagine. I don't have those records to pull up now, but I would imagine he was doing those things back then, right? Of course, this is 50 over cricket. Yeah. So fine, 100 we could say, all right, fine, we're not looking to that, but at least a 50, put those runs on the board, and it's, that would be a good thing.
There's
At
going to be
this
a
level, I would
challenge.
say.
There's going to be a challenge
we
for
had some safety.
consistency.
Yeah,
And
naturally.
consistency is going to be the challenge.
And get
What would be interesting though, guys, is to check under 15 cricket in India or Australia or South Africa and see what those scores are. And when I say scores, not only, of course, all right, how much they're making after 50 overs, but also to look at and see how many extras, right? So, for example, in the Jamaican-Barbados match, when Jamaica batted, Barbados gave them 13 extras. When Barbados batted, Jamaica gave them 17, right? Guyana gave Trinidad pretty much 24 by way of extras. You see? Windwards now. In fact, the Windwards give up 43 extras to the Leeward Islands. You see?
Yeah.
So those little things you want to look at. And again, I'm not knocking them, but if we could see more disciplined bowling, like it's more important to bowl good line and length. The pace will come, but you just try to put the ball in the right place. Because a lot of times when you're trying for extra pace, you're either overstepping or you're sending the ball wide or something like that, So these things, but again, I'm not knocking the fellas. It would be good to see how they improve as the tournament wears on and what have you, Forest Day, we expect some jitters, we expect some excitement. Let's see how they progress.
Go ahead, Walter.
Fellas, let us make it clear. People, we are not bashing these young men. We are not bashing West Indies cricket. We're not bashing Guyana cricket. We're not bashing any one of the cricket boards.
Yes.
What we are asking for is just we see that more can be done. That's all.
Yeah.
More can be done because we love West Indies cricket.
And big up to Ramdial, Richard Ramdial, 64.
Yes.
Jordan Julian and Alex Armstrong. Armstrong had a 47 and Julian a 53 from Trinidad. So I know we're not getting into the weeds, but still, it's good to see numbers either above 50 or close to 50.
Yeah, we have to do that. We have to do that. Then there, yes.
And one last point, fellas. I gotta say this again. I am so happy that these matches are on YouTube.
Yes.
I think it would be a good thing, if you look at what is happening when the games are live, right? And then look at the numbers some days after. I haven't done it yet, but it would be interesting to see what is the viewer count as the days wear on. You see? Because it means that people, whenever they get a chance, because not everybody could sit down. I can't sit down and watch on the 15th play during the day, If I'm in the car, I can listen, I can pick up a few things, what have you, as I'm going about my business, right? But what I'm happy about is that our young cricketers, girls and boys, can see cricket on demand.
Yeah.
That's what I'm happy about.
What I would like,
Cricket West Indies for that.
What I would like is that the people, because I think the tournament is being held in Antigua, right?
Yeah, in Antigua.
Yeah.
So what I would like is for the schools to make it available to the students to go down to the grounds. You understand? And support the young lads. What I would like is for some adults to make their way down there and support these young boys. You understand? That is what I would like. I know personally, if cricket playing in my backyard, I go in and watch. I don't care if you're under 15, under 13, under 9, I go in and watch because that's how much I love.
Blind cricket we will watch.
Because it's interesting.
But Kevin, you mentioned this, I came very close to being in Antigua at this time.
Oh yeah?
I didn't even know under 15 was on. But the problem is, and if they're listening, let me voice my displeasure as I've said it to other people. We folks, you cannot plan a conference in Holy Week. Plan the conference during Easter. If it was next week, I would have been in Antigua.
Yeah.
And I would have find some time to go down and see some schoolboy
watch some
cricket at
cricket.
some point.
Yeah,
And
man.
carry Joshua too.
Yeah. It is imperative that these young men not play the game in stadiums that are empty. You understand me? They work hard.
Yep.
They work hard and they deserve an audience to show what they have. Anyways, so there were some things said with regards to the last episode that we had with, in terms of the Tampa Gate. If you want to go look at the last episode, it says Tampa Gate on the thumbnail, right? Tampa Gate at Queen's Park Oval, where 2 Guyanese cricketers were found guilty of ball tampering, or, as they said, changing the conditions of the ball. Now, here's the thing, people, and myself and Sam and Walter are going to make it explicitly clear. Nobody tolerates ball tampering. You understand me? I don't care where you're from. Play the game the way in the right spirit. Play the game the way the game is supposed to be played. Not because someone said, "Oh, I hope Cricket West Indies don't come with a heavy hand," means we're making an excuse for anybody. No, you have to understand and step back and take a bigger look at the picture that we're looking at. You understand? Anyways, I don't know this is the last time we're talking about it. I know this is the last time I'm talking about it. Whoever feel whatever way, this their business. You understand? Walter,
what I would say, Kevin, it will be the last time we address it until we get some proper information from either Cricket West Indies or the Guyana Cricket Board.
Well, fair enough.
Because
yes.
what people have to recognize is simply this. An incident happened, the umpires took a decision on the field of play. Now, why is it we could not get a proper report 24 hours after? And when I say a proper report, why is it we couldn't get an initial statement saying, this is what the umpires found? Why you can't say that out loud? Why it gotta be this big secret, this thing that had to be on the lock and key? No, the umpires made a decision, put it out there. You can still do a proper investigation after, the facts can't change. You're not going to change, the umpires found X and you're going to change it to Y. The facts are the facts according to what the umpires discovered. So I don't understand this secrecy around, we have to do an investigation. Let the cricket public know what it is the umpires found.
Because the umpires have to give a report. They have to give a match report.
Of course. But you see the issue we have in this Caribbean. There's a secrecy culture which I find quite annoying. It makes absolutely no sense. And so in the absence of a proper presentation of the facts, people have all manner of comments to make and insinuations and what have you. Yeah. But let us be clear, fellas. I don't care who vexed. Let me make this point clear. Every fielder, maybe except for the wicket keeper who got big gloves on and he ain't really doing anything with the ball. He just returned the ball to whom have you. Every fielder in the cricket ground, right, seeks to change the condition of the cricket ball. Let's be real. Why in God's name they're always rubbing one side? That is changing the condition of the ball, right? And it is acceptable, correct? So what we want to know is what is unacceptable. Let us be clear about that. But this secrecy is not going to change that.
Yeah.
Because we're making this thing seem as the guys were wrong, they cheat. But here is what. Is it the case that a young fella like Kevlon Anderson, is it the case that he did something consciously, right, that was wrong? Now, people would say, but he admitted. But we got to remember that at first, he denied any wrongdoing. And there is a view that in order to reduce the penalty, he just says, okay, I did whatever. And last point before you go on, Kevin, him like the captain has came out and said that nothing wrong was done essentially. So this thing here, everybody assuming that, oh, Guyana cheat and is this big deal, what have you. Well, if Guyana cheat, let us hear what the umpires found. Let us be scientific about this thing and not emotional about it. That is my problem.
Yeah.
I don't.
West Indies needs to say what happened, what transpired, what was it, what the umpires found. These are the facts. This is why they were found guilty, and put it out there for general public to consume, right?
Yeah.
How long of an investigation does this require? The umpires would have given their reports already. The match referee would have given his report.
Yeah.
I know, man.
Fellas, I ain't talking now because y'all say everything. Y'all were clear, concise. The only thing what I say is we are Guyanese, obviously, but when it comes to cricket, I'm a West Indian.
First and foremost.
First and
Amen.
foremost, right?
Yeah.
I am from a political perspective and a historian, I'm an integrationist because I
Same
believe
here.
that we are stronger together.
Yeah.
So obviously, and if we go into politics and nationalism, I hate nationalism, but this is not a show for that, right? So I'm telling you guys that we are Guyanese, but we are supporting the right. And as Sammy said, West Indies Cricket Board, once they tell us, and they should, more than. And another point, and we said it in the last, because there's a precedence in West Indies cricket. Whenever our players do anything, we give them the hardest punishment as compared to other cricketing nations. And everybody jump up already. The Guyanese cheat, and the this, and what's going on, and all kind of. Let us stop this division thing. I don't. I think I don't. Y'all said enough. That's it. Then we done.
I must say, because of all that controversy on the weekend, I was so happy when the Guyanese prevailed in that under 15 match, because in one of the overs we lost 2 wickets back to back in one over, and I was like, boy, this thing looking shaky. But again, I was happy those boys took that bitter taste out of our mouths by winning yesterday.
Now that you mentioned that, Sammy, right? And I when I talked about what I would like to see with our young cricketers for this tournament, you understand? Their takeaways. Something as simple as that, right? You lose 2 wickets, and a young batsman come in and says, it goes no further, right? I'm going to stand up, and I'm going to take the team home, or I'll get them close as possible. It's about taking responsibility, right? And that is what you want to see more of from our players, especially at this age group level, because it only fosters well for when they get to the point of playing international cricket. You understand? They have to get used to playing in that pressure cooker situation. Learning how to deal with pressure, learning how to overcome those moments, right? So those are things that I love to see when young players show up and there's some pressure, they're under pressure, and they have to figure their way out of it. That is what I want to see. Not the 2 wickets falling over and then it's a house of cards afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that I'm looking for. How our bowlers cope. If they're under pressure, the runs are leaking, who comes on and puts a stop to it? What do the captains do? What kinds of fields do they set? Bowling changes being made. Slowing the game down a little bit so your players can settle. These are the little things that you're looking for from young players' decision making, right? Anyways, I think we've covered everything that we wanted to cover tonight, fellas. Once again, congratulations, condolences to the Pydana family, Steve, Imogen, Collis, Bones, Clive. One love, fellas. All right, take it easy. Hope hoping for a good under 50 for all the territories, you know, and no more ball tampering. Y'all understand me? I don't care what territory you're from. Lower the ball them.
Yep.
Anyways, fellas, good having you guys on tonight.
We said
One love.
we are seeing these cricketers family people. That's it.
All the time, always.
It
Yeah.
in we veins. Welcome back to another episode of the Top of Off Cricket Podcast. I am your host, Kevin Henry. And as usual, with me, I got Sam and Walter. I don't know, we talking everything West Indies cricket. So let's just get this show started with first and foremost, some friends that I grew up with. They lost their father earlier today. Condolences to the Pydanas, Clive, Steve, Bones, Collis, their dad from West Indies and Guyana. We